Join me for a stroll as I walk around my Zone 8 flower garden in September. Hopefully we catch it just before the season starts to change. This month is special for gardeners like me because it marks the transition between summer and autumn. A time where we can still enjoy a bit of warmth while preparing our garden for the cooler months. And if you're anything like me, I am a gardener who is a fair weather gardener. So I don't like to garden when it's too cold, when it's too hot, or when it's wet. So September usually is a perfect time to garden. So I'm going to show you around my garden and show you the highs and the lows, some of which I am particularly embarrassed about because, quite frankly, for somebody who's sharing videos on gardening on YouTube, it's a disgrace. However, it is what it is, and as such, we all have to learn from it. And this week, I'm learning how to enjoy weeding. So, come with me and I'll give you a tour. As we enter September, one of the biggest challenges we face is transitioning from the long hot days of summer to the cooler days of autumn. And it's difficult to know exactly when to start preparing the garden for the change in seasons. You want to obviously continue with the flowers, but equally you need to cut back the flowers so that you can prepare the soil. So it's a very fine balancing act. Also in September, our gardens may start to look a little tired, but there are still plenty of flowers that thrive during this time of year. I've got a few favourites and I'm sure you have your own, that always put on a good show in my Zone 8 garden. One of them is the lovely echinacea. It always seems to be at its best at this time of year, and really the colours that it comes in really emphasise those autumnal beautiful colours, and it just looks fantastic. With no effort, I have to add. So as we know, September is a time for seasonal change. As the summer annuals start to fade, I like to take this opportunity to tidy up the garden, dividing and replanting perennials as needed, and adding a layer of mulch to protect the soil for the coming months. By taking these steps, we can ensure that our gardens stay healthy and thriving throughout the fall months. But something I hadn't realised I was missing until this year was the sweet pea. And boy, this is such a joy to have at the entrance to the cutting patch. The fragrance is divine. We really need smelly vision here. Having both colour and fragrance in a garden really does enhance my time spent in it. We have this dahlia that has just opened up. I'm not sure whether it's Senior's Hope. I need to recheck pictures to see what they are, because I move things around to try and evade the slugs. But I'm so glad I haven't lost it. Zinnias are amazing. Now, these would not be my favourite colours, however they are drying beautifully. The statice is finishing now really. I could probably get some more off it, but I've got so much of it now. So that is the view of the cutting patch mid-September. I don't think we're short of colour here. And this is what I have been doing with all of the flowers this year. Everything, and I mean everything, has been dried. So the statice I was talking about earlier, that's nearly 3 shelves full. I'm not quite sure I'll be able to get rid of all of that. I think I've picked my last flowers for drying because it's getting chillier in here and they're just not drying as quick. So to avoid them going mouldy and giving them the best chance, I am not going to be adding any more to it. So that is the 2024 dried flower collection from me. So this is my front garden, and as you can see, I've made a start on tidying it up. In the last 3 days, I've weeded all of this section here up to the red trug. In fact, the last 2 days, and I've just got the rest of it to do whilst the weather stays fine. You can tell I've got a lot to do, and if I'm honest, it's all been a little bit overwhelming this year, and I certainly haven't kept up to date with it. And now the results are a massive backlog. But this week is meant to be dry and fairly warm, so I am going to get on and at least get the main garden weeded, because this is the one that I hate doing the most. The cutting patch is fairly easy to sort out, and as I clear it I'll just be composting on top or mulching on top, which is fairly easy to do. But this is more challenging because you've got to weed around plants, so it's not as easy. So I'm determined to get this done this week, and so far I have done, I would say, a third of the garden in 2 days. And what I'm doing, I'm challenging myself. I am giving myself areas to do, so either whether it's done by time, so I'll say in the next hour you're going to weed X, because that's all I've got, and I'll try and just weed what I can in that hour, or, and which is what I've been doing this time round, is picking an area. So for instance, my next gap, I want to finish at that trellis there, so I want to get that bit done, because I know I'll have done the horrible bit with the couch gas done. So I want to get that bit done, and I'll feel that much more accomplished at the end of it. And I suggest that to you as well. If you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed with all of the work that needs to get done, then just break it down into smaller pieces, whether it's done in time blocks or whether it's done in space blocks. But it just makes it so much easier. You're not thinking about the garden as a whole and everything that needs to be done there. You're just thinking of the little bit that you've got to do in that space or that time, and that's it. You've got something done, and something is better than nothing. Starting is better than doing it perfectly, as long as you've got something done. So challenge yourself with either a time block or a space block, and see whether you can get some of your autumn garden prep done this weekend. Until next time, happy gardening.